Welcome back, guys. Today we are going to talk about how humans could adapt to living underwater. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Your lungs would fill with water in under 3 minutes. But what if something in your own body actually fought to keep you alive down there? Some animals already do this. Seals and dolphins hold their breath for 20 minutes or more. Their hearts slow to a crawl the instant they dive. It is not magic. It is a reflex written into their genes over millions of years. You have no such defense because your ancestors never needed one. They stayed on land. But if you rewound your own ancestry far enough, you would find an ancestor who did live in water 375 million years ago. Before anything walked on legs. That creature was neither a fish nor a mammal, but something between. A lobe-finned fish with stubby limbs that looked almost like hands. One day, it crawled onto the shore. And when it did, it brought something that changed everything. Lungs. That fish did not invent them from nothing. They evolved from air bladders. The tiny pouches fish used to float and sink, adjusting their depth without swimming. A simple tool repurposed for a new world. And that made all the difference. Once those bladders could breathe air, that fish could gulp the surface and survive in shallow, stagnant water where normal fish would suffocate. This was not about abandoning water. It was about winning a competition for resources no other creature could reach. Fast forward 375 million years, and that same basic plan is still inside you. Your lungs are not the only thing that changed in those millions of years. Your skeleton is built on the same basic frame as that lobe-finned fish. That is why your wrists bend the way they do, why you have 5 fingers instead of 8. Your hand is the descendant of a fin. So when you try to imagine living underwater, you are imagining something your body already knows how to do. Not because you can hold your breath forever, but because every bone, every muscle, every reflex in you carries 375 million years of water ancestry. You are not a creature trapped on land. You are a creature that chose it once, and the choice is still written in your genes. So what would it actually take to live down there permanently? Not more lungs. Gills. You would need to reverse 375 million years of evolution in one generation. Your body still carries the instruction manual for them, buried in your DNA. Every human embryo grows gill-like structures in the womb, then absorbs them before you are born. They are not useless leftovers. They become your inner ear and jaw. Here is the real problem. That ancient fish body plan works perfectly on land. But the deeper you go, the worse those same bones and joints start failing you. Water pressure increases by 1 atmosphere every 10 meters you descend, which means at just 100 meters down, you are being crushed by 10 times the weight your skeleton evolved to handle. Your rib cage would collapse like a soda can. Your lungs are not the only part of you that cannot handle pressure. Your sinuses would squeeze inward, the air pockets inside your skull collapsing. A vacuum forms inside your skull and sucks your face inward. Your middle ear ruptures. Even your blood becomes dangerous. Nitrogen gas dissolves into your blood and tissues at depth, and when you surface too fast, it forms bubbles in your veins. Exactly as bad as it sounds. You are basically a machine made of air pockets and fragile tubes trying to survive where everything crushes. But here is the thing, that is only half the problem. Your cells would run out of oxygen before you reached the crushing depth. Your cells need oxygen to stay alive and work. Every single cell in you runs on it. In air, your blood absorbs oxygen from your lungs effortlessly, then carries it everywhere you go. Water is denser than air, so oxygen molecules move through it much slower. Even if you somehow had lungs that would not collapse underwater, your blood still could not grab oxygen fast enough. You would need more than just lungs that somehow work. You would need a way to rip oxygen from water instantly. Fish have gills, and they work like your lungs, but inside out, pulling oxygen the other way. Fish pull water across a thin membrane, oxygen molecules slip through one side, carbon dioxide leaks out the other. Gills pack thousands of these membranes stacked impossibly close together, which means they rip oxygen from water with brutal speed. So if your body somehow grew gills instead of lungs, you would solve the oxygen problem in one stroke. But you still have the pressure waiting below, and that one you cannot wish away. Your bones would need to become denser, heavier, shaped completely differently to distribute crushing force instead of snapping under it. Your muscles would need to shift too, rewiring how they contract and recover without oxygen for stretches, the way a whale does on a deep dive. But there is something else that makes this even stranger. If you truly rewired your entire body to survive underwater, you would be trading away the ability to survive on land almost entirely. Your denser bones would make you too heavy to walk efficiently on ground, sinking with every step instead of springing forward. Your gills would dry out and collapse the instant you left the water, suffocating you in minutes even though air is everywhere around you. So here is what the deep version of you would look like: a body locked permanently underwater, unable to leave that world without dying. This is the real irony. You did not abandon water 375 million years ago. Water abandoned you. Your ancestors crawled onto land and won. They found food, space, and safety that water could not give them. And now, millions of years later, your body is so perfectly shaped for land that going back would mean giving up everything they gained. You cannot live underwater and on land at the same time. Evolution does not work that way. Every adaptation that saves you in one place is a vulnerability in another. The lighter bones that let you jump and run would shatter under pressure. The lungs that fill with oxygen and air would flood in water. The upright spine that lets you see the horizon would snap sideways. Your body is not trapped on land. It is optimized for it. They abandoned it because their bodies changed so completely that water stopped fitting them anymore. Evolution locked your body onto land by making you too specialized for water. But here is the thing that makes this truly strange. You are not just swapping one organ for another. You would need to rebuild yourself into an entirely different creature, one barely recognizable as human. Your fingers would fuse together into a paddle or fin, because separate digits create drag in water. Your face would flatten and streamline, your nose and ears shrinking or vanishing altogether because protruding features slow you down. Your neck would stiffen, fusing your spine into a single rigid rod, the way a whale's neck is locked in place. Your skin would need to thicken into blubber, an insulating layer that slows heat loss in cold water. Your eyes would stay enormous, pupils dilated permanently to catch every photon in the darkness. You would lose your ability to cry. Saltwater tears serve no purpose when you are already surrounded by salt water. At that point, nothing about you would remain the same. Your skin would need to thicken into blubber, an insulating layer that traps heat in freezing water the way whales do. Your entire face would become unrecognizable, a wedge shape built for slicing through water instead of showing emotion. Your nose and ears would shrink or vanish because bumps slow you down underwater. But the real shift happens in your brain. Your senses would rewire completely underwater. Sound travels 4 times faster in water than in air, which means your ears would have to relearn how they measure distance. Light bends and fades underwater, so colors vanish. Red fades first, then yellow, then green, leaving only bluegrass. Your eyes would grow much larger to catch every photon in the dark. Your pupils would stay permanently wide open, drinking in the little light that reaches down. And your brain rewires how you see it all. Here is the strangest part. This is what the thought experiment actually reveals. You cannot just add gills and keep everything else the same. Every single system cascades into the next. Bones reshape themselves. Muscles rewire how they work. Senses rewire completely. Skin thickens into blubber. Face flattens. Identity vanishes. The creature you become is so different that the word human barely fits anymore, the word you barely fits anymore. A creature so alien that nothing human remains visible. But here is the strangest part. You would still feel like you inside. Your consciousness would not transform because the change happens so slowly. Evolution does not flip a switch. It nudges, one generation at a time, until your great-great-great-grandchild looks into still water and sees something that is not you. So here is the real answer. You cannot live underwater. Not because the forbids it, but because the person you are today is locked into a shape that works on land. And that shape is built to stay. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed watching this video, please click the like and subscribe button.